In this question, we have a photograph of a wind tunnel test of airflow over a heavy launch vehicle called Ares 5. Don't know too much about that, but this is a picture taken of this thing inside a wind tunnel, and you can see the shock waves, or whatever you would call them, of the wind, as it's moving across this thing. And what we want to do is find the actual length and the actual diameter of the boosters. So this is supposed to be a reduction. So the photograph that you have in your textbook, you would have to actually use a ruler. I wasn't going to pull this into my drawing program, and it's hard because I've changed the scale of this diagram on the screen. But what you would want to do is take a ruler and measure along this thing from the start and to the end, and using a metric ruler would be the best thing. And when I measured it, I got 105 millimeters. So we'll just go with that for now. So that's the length. We'll deal with the conversions in a second. And it says the diameter. So I'm going to just get the information, then we'll do the calculations. So the diameter would be, let's see if I use a different color, would be this here, if you measure across that. And I just did it, but I'm going to do it again. And I'm getting 3 millimeters. Let's go back to black. So 3 millimeters. Okay, so now the scale is 1 to 1,000. Now if you're wondering how you would go about doing that, that means in the photo, if anything that's a length of 1 in the photo is 1,000 times bigger in real life. That would be one way of doing that. So this is basically saying this is a reduction by 1,000. So if we want what these actual lengths would be, we would take them and multiply by 1,000. You can actually do that with a proportion as well. You could say 1 in the photo is 1,000 in real life. So 105 millimeters in the photo. Notice there's no units here. It's 1 something to 1,000 somethings. They have to be the same. And you'd be saying, what would this be in real life? So one measuring in the photo, what would that be in real life? And you can see, you multiply by 1,000 and then divide by 1. So I would first multiply this by 1,000. So I have 105 and then 0, 0, 0. And that's in millimeters. And that's not really an appropriate length. I would probably change that maybe to meters. There are 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter, so it's 105 meters long. Now the second part, if you multiply that by 1,000, it's going to be 3,000 millimeters, and it's your choice. That could either be 3 meters or 30 centimeters. Hopefully you could follow along with that. So I'm not doing every single possible calculation here. I'm doing a little bit of that in my head, but hopefully that will give you a ballpark answer. It should be relatively close to that because you're just measuring using a ruler in your textbook.